good evening, everyone. Welcome to Talking with 3D. I am your host, Derek Durrell Dixon, and I am so excited to have you here tonight. I have my special guest, my special friend, Erica Strong is in the house, ladies and gentlemen, and we are going to be talking about relationships. We're going to be talking about her book, Love Strong, Stand Strong, Finish Strong. Then her new book, Finishing Strong. She is a celebrity hairstylist, motivational speaker. She is also an entrepreneur. She is a mother, and she's also a wife. So I am so excited to talk about that story, and from just the time that I met her to the time that where she is at now, because I think this is such an important topic that we are going to be talking about today. Also, how that you can connect with Erica, because we have all gone through something in life, male and females. But the thing is that a lot of times the females take on, the women take on the more harder part of a relationship. A lot of times, guys, we just like, we get out of it and we move on with our lives and everything on to the next relationship and just be like, you know what, oh, well. And women, they go through different emotions and different things. And I think today is important on two sides. I think it's important for women to know how to love strong, to stand strong, and to finish strong. But I also think it's important for us as men to hear, what women go through, what that side of that, when you go through a relationship. Why is it important to understand the emotions and sometimes the ups and the downs? You have to listen to it. You have to learn. So I'm so excited. We're going to be diving into it. We're going to listen. Talking with 3D, it's real talk with real people. And we are really going to really talk, be real, and just understand what Erica went through, her testimony, her story, because it is a story that a lot of women can relate to and think that, you know what, I've been through there. I've been through this. I've been there. So, we need to listen, understand, and then know how to finish strong. So I am so excited to have you, Erica Strong. Welcome to Talking with 3D. Yes, all the way there in Atlanta, Georgia. Erica just got married. She's still glowing and everything looking beautiful as could be.
Thank you.
Erica, how are you?
I am awesome. Thank you so much for having me, Derek. I always enjoy our conversations because, like you just said, it's always real talk. We have been real talk buddies since the day that we met.
From day one. From day one. I know that you just got off another interview that you actually interviewed Kim Fields on your platform, and I got to hear a little of the interview and things that you guys were talking about. It was so, again, inspirational for entrepreneurs and things. So that was very interesting. So I'm so glad, again, that we have this platform and that we're able to share our testimonies and our lives with people, because a lot of people just don't, they always think it's just me.
Yeah.
That's what's important, and that it's not just you. It's not just you. Me being I call a solo father, being a solo father, having an autistic son, and I always thought, my son is the only one that does this, until you learn and you meet other parents and you realize you're not the only one. So but you have to be vulnerable enough to share your story. And when you're vulnerable enough to share your story, that's when your healing happens.
Yes.
And that's when you're able to say, wow, I'm not the only one. So listen, we're going to get into that. Erica, tell us a little bit more about you. I know you have so many titles and so many jobs. So tell us a little bit more about what Erica Strong, who she is and what she does.
Well, you're right. I wear a lot of hats, and but life experiences, kind of led me to where I am now. And I really feel like we despise things that happen in our lives, but if we really was to take a step back and look at that, that was the steps that was being ordered, even if it wasn't something that I actually loved or liked, because I took an intentional effort to grab the lesson out of each thing, that it landed me where I am today. And where I am today is a business and life coach. And I love it. You hear me? I know that every scenario with business, every scenario with life, everything that I pretty much had to go through prepared me for exactly what I'm doing now. So I create courses and I teach people how to brand their business and how to, you know, like I teach entrepreneurs how to get in the market, be strong in the market, and to be able to grow and expand their brand. So like outside of everything else that my brain is always wrapped around, this is where my baby is, and this is where a lot of my attention is going now. I still have Kim and other celebrities that I kind of play around with, but they all understand that this is my baby now.
Right, right, right. And again, it's something I've watched you. You've traveled to Africa. You've mentored so many young girls and businesses and things like that. So I think, again, it's so important that we have a life coach in our lives, because a lot of people don't, and a lot of people don't understand that life coach is like therapy. And we, as the Black community, feel like we don't need that, that we don't need it. And when you realize that a life coach can help you through whatever task you're going through, if it's spirituality, you know, your spiritual life, or your sexual life, your marriages, your friendships, it's so important to be able to connect and to talk to someone and it's not always that you can relate, but it's the fact that, you know what, I have someone that I can speak with and someone that can give me sound advice.
Yeah, I had a therapist for a while, especially after when I moved back to Atlanta after that, you know, all of this stuff happened. I had a therapist, and at first I was a little like leery about going because I didn't want to feel like, you know, like I was having a nervous breakdown or I was whatever. But I was so happy that I went, because at the time that I started seeing my therapist, I was in school getting my master's in marriage and family therapy. Right. And I knew that I cannot shy away from having that service for me and then want to give it to someone else. And once I went through that therapeutic process, I realized, you know what, I'm going to make going to therapy cool. I'm going to make it where people brag about, just like they brag about that Louis Vuitton and all. I want them to brag about, I have a therapist, because you need that in your life.
Yes.
And the reason why. Yeah, and the reason why business and life coaching is my baby is because I have been an entrepreneur my entire adult life. The last time I worked for somebody was when I was in high school, right? Wow. My entire adult life, I've been an entrepreneur raising children as predominantly a single mother. So you know, I know where you are as a solo dad and an entrepreneur. Right. And so in that, there was a lot of life stuff happening that I needed somebody to help me to balance that out. And so that's who I show up for business owners and entrepreneurs. Like, you don't just get somebody that's going to crunch the numbers and tell you how to show up in the market, but you're going to get somebody to challenge. What do you believe in? What are you thinking? Where are you? Like, where you are emotionally is going to show up in your business. Those are the conversations that they have for me, not just the numbers. You get what I'm saying?
Right. And I think one thing that's also, Erica, is that you have 3 daughters, and your daughters mimic you. And that right there is a testament, because they see the hard work. They've been there by your side through the ups and the downs. And so therefore, they become strong women.
Absolutely.
To see them be entrepreneurs and start their businesses, you know, we have so many stories to hear. Well, my mother went through this, or I didn't know my father, and I didn't know this, so therefore I don't know how to do it. It's the pity party that gets me. So therefore, if you could see that, again, like you said earlier, we go through these things for a reason. Use those and make it the best of what, you know, make it something better of what it was.
Yeah,
So
I'm
I think
telling you.
that's so important.
Yeah, and the reason, and thank you for that with my girls, and one of the things that I can attribute it to is because even through the cycles that our lives was going in, these spirals of up and down, financially, relational, all of the stuff that was happening. One of the things that I stuck to and I still stick to today, I refused to be the victim.
Yes.
I refused to be the victim. I always knew that I wasn't going to be a statistic as a single parent. I wasn't going to be a statistic as a divorced mother. I wasn't going to be a statistic as, you know, a entrepreneur raising three children. Like, I refused to be a victim. And that's that kind of resilience that we have to have. Like, you know, yes, stuff happens, but when you refuse to be a victim, you find a way out of there.
Right. You find a way out.
Find a way out.
Find a way out. Listen, we're going to take a quick break. And again, thank you for joining us here at Talking with 3D. I am here with Erica Strong. And again, we're going to come back. We're going to talk about how she started the book, Love Strong, Stand Strong, and Finish Strong. You can't go anywhere because this is a story you don't want to miss. We'll be right back. Stay right there.
The 3D Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that brings awareness to autism by special events and community events like Stomp the Runway for Autism. We also specialize in health and wellness services, advocacy services, clothing and school supplies, food for families in need. Be a part and make a donation now at www.the3dfoundation.org.
I don't ask much from you, girl. Why can't you give me the respect that I'm entitled to? Why can't you treat me the way I would be treated by any stranger on the street?
Because I am not one of your fans!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Talking with 3D. I am here with my special friend, Erica Strong. And right here, she is in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm here in Baltimore, Maryland. But we met here in Baltimore, Maryland. When we met, our bond just became strong. We became friends. I felt like I had to protect her. She was just someone that, you know, you just loved. You loved everything about her. And even through her ups and downs, I was still so connected to everything that Erica did, supported everything that she did. And I thank God that, you know what, you don't allow people to make up your mind of who you choose to love and who you choose to like and who you choose to support, because people will try to do that to you. And they will try to alter and make you think someone is bad because of the fact of what they go through, who they are.
Yeah.
So therefore, they want to change your mindset and make you think different of somebody. You have to, ladies and gentlemen, you have to know people for yourself, and you cannot take you know, what other people say and make it toxic, make, you know, that in your world or in your life. So I want to talk, Erica, you wrote a book, and I say it's a bestseller, available on Amazon, and you can tell people where they can get it as well. Love Strong, Stand Strong, Finish Strong. Tell us, Erica, what made you write this book?
You know what? It was a series of journals that I was writing through some of the darkest times in my life, right? And as I was writing these journals, it was just my way of releasing all of the pain that I had inside of me, that pain that we hold inside of us that shows up in diabetes and high blood pressure and like that starts to deteriorate our bodies, I knew that I had to get that out some kind of way. And thank God, because nobody told me that. I didn't have a therapist then, but I knew that it was, I just had to get it out of me, because I walked around with such a heavy, deep depression, that feeling of just like, I don't want to live anymore. And I started getting it out of me by writing in my journals. And the first part of where that deep, dark depression started, as I was happily married with my children, with my new business. It was my second salon I was opening up. So, it was like the point in your life when you felt like everything was great. It's wonderful. Like, this is what life is about. And we had our youngest child. She was 1 at the time. And he decided he wasn't coming back home. Like, he left to go to work. Wow. He left to go out of town for a business conference. And 2 weeks into that business conference, I'm thinking it's time for you to come back home. He called and was like, I'm not coming back. And I mean, it was just that cavalier. I'm not coming back. Whatever you can't sell, give it to, whatever you can't sell, give it to Goodwill. I'll never, ever forget that. Because I'm looking around like, how do you leave your home and leave everything in it, including your children and your wife, and say, I'm not coming back? I thought that just happened on TV.
Right.
You know that show, Harlem Nights, when the man called the children, oh, baby, put your mama on the phone. I ain't never come home. You remember that?
Right.
That only happened in movies, right? And then for that to show up in my life with no explanation. There was no arguing, there was no fussing, there was zero explanation. So I couldn't make sense of it, because I couldn't point a finger to like, I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, because I did all of that at first, and I'm thinking like, well, there was no explanation, just I'm gone, right?
Wow.
And so going down that spiral of depression, it was too much inside of me that I had to start writing how I felt. But one of the things that I'm grateful to God, because I know that it was the impression of God's intelligence on my mind to know that when I wrote something in that journal, I could not ever end it with a sad part. I had to end it with building myself back up. So I could be as honest and expressive as I needed to be in my journal. Like, I feel like crap. I feel like I'm not enough. I feel like I'm not pretty enough. I'm just worthless. Who, anybody could just leave me. I mean, I said everything I was feeling. I got it out. And then at the end of the journal, I would say, but you are not alone. God is with you. You are loved. You are loved. Like I had to reaffirm myself before I closed that book. And so I would do it every time that I felt so heavy that because contemplating not living anymore started becoming a real thing.
Okay.
It was like, I never did anything to intentionally hurt myself, but I thought about it a lot.
And the thought, even just the thought that's a dangerous thing.
Right. So whatever you think, you're gonna start feeling it. And when you feel it, you're gonna act on it. It
manifests.
It manifests.
Yeah.
And so it was scaring me that was a constant thought of mine. And so I would just write it out and write it out and write it out. And so it was just a series of these things happening. So then I go through this healing period where I start finding my way and start, getting myself back on track. And I realized that when I started getting myself back on track is when I stopped putting attention on myself and what I was feeling. And I started thinking about other people, and I started helping other people and counseling other people. And it's like I started healing, and I was fine, and my life was back intact, and I was striving, and I was moving in the direction I wanted to go. And then I met somebody, got married again.
Now, before we get into that one, because that's when I met you, I want to, because I want people to know, because like you say, you got into your healing process, and your first husband. And this is what I read in the book, and I want y'all to get the book. I don't want to give anything away, but your first husband met someone that was of celebrity status. And one day you were on a movie set, and that person had to come in, and they knew that they were messing around with a married man, which was your husband. Keep up with me now.
Yep.
that you were on a movie set doing hair, and that person had to sit in your chair and get their hair done by you. How did you not burn her hair off?
You know what? And see, that's where that healing came in. Because thank God that a couple years had gone by before I had to face that, right?
Right.
And so the healing came in when, before then, there was an article that Essence wrote about their engagement.
Yes.
While we were still married.
And they were actually on a reality show.
Yes. So she's an R&B singer.
Yes.
So like I think maybe right before Essence, the article came out with Essence, and this is how the listeners will understand how that depression spiraled the way that it did.
And I know a lot of them right now are like Googling R&B singer, Erica Strong. They're trying to find out, honey. But I mean, it's out there. She is an R&B singer. She was on a reality show, and it is in the an Essence article. And you got to get the book. We'll have Strong, Stand Strong, Finish Strong, and connect all the dots. So go ahead.
That's what you gotta do. But anyway, so the article came out. Well, right before the article came out, he called himself calling me to let me know, well, you're about to hear some stuff, and I'm with this person, but it's not really like that. I'm just helping her out. You would leave your entire family to help somebody out, really? Right. So he kind of told me, what was going, like, kind of not told me what was going on. Told me who he was, who he was with.
Right.
So when he told me who he was with, and I was heartbroken because I liked her as an artist. And I remember the day that he met her, he came home and was like, "Hey babe, let me tell you who I met." It was all like, this casual conversation. And then like months later, it turns into this full-blown relationship. So of course it was still fuzzy for me. It was just like, you left me for her, no explanation. But then an Essence article came out. So when the Essence article came out, she chronologed their entire relationship.
Right.
We met here. It was love at first sight. He traveled to me. I traveled to him. And so as I'm reading, like, the viewers are reading like, "Oh, that's so sweet. She found love." I'm reading it like fire is coming out my ears. Like, this is what he was doing. And that was, I was like putting all of the pieces, the puzzle together based on her article from Essence. And so I'm a pretty good writer, hence I'm an author. So I decided to write the editor of Essence and let them know that you should not be printing a story like this without checking out all your facts. This man is married. I am his wife. He has children. He has children that can read and they can see this and they can be affected by. I mean, I went all the way in my response. And so as I was sitting there going over my grammar, making sure everything was okay, and I was about to send it in. I don't know where people are on your channel that spiritually, I'm in the house by myself, right? And I heard not like an audible voice, but like a voice saying to me, "I am your avenger."
Wow.
And I stopped for a minute because I'm thinking because I'm not a confrontational person. So I'm thinking no, Erica, you always trying to avoid the confrontation. You always trying to put yourself on the back burner. You need to do this for yourself now, right? So I'm sitting there thinking nope, I'm going to do it. And right as I was gonna go ahead and do it, I heard it again. "I am your avenger." I love them too.
Wow.
I love them too. And when I judge, I don't ask who started it. That was in my terms, when I judge, I don't ask who started it. So I literally had to dissect that. So, okay, if I was to hit you, right? I would get judged for hitting you.
Right.
But if you hit me back, you would get judged for hitting me. It's not a thing where God comes and say, "Okay, Derek, well, since she hit you first, you're not gonna reap this because you're just paying her back what she gave you. You shall always reap what you sow."
Oh, that's right.
No matter what the person did, but what you do is what matters.
That's right.
And so I'm sitting there in front of this computer and I'm getting all of this downloaded that I could not ignore it. So I erased all of my words. I didn't send anything in. And I felt defeated because I felt come on. The one time I was going to stand up for myself, I can't do it.
Right, right.
But what it made me start looking at is that is an immense amount of love when he said I love them too, because you know in the religious world we can give you a whole laundry list of all the reasons why God don't love you.
Right, right.
You know what I'm saying? As if we can determine what makes God's love unconditional. No, it's unconditional. I don't care where you are, what you're doing, what you have done. You cannot lose God's love.
That's right.
And
That's
so
right.
I learned that in that moment. So this is where the first title of the book came from.
Okay.
Like you have to love so strong.
Right.
That it's
you have to love so strong that you had to sit that R&B singer in your chair after knowing everything that they both put you through and be a professional and do your job.
Exactly. So let me tell you about that morning. So I was head of hair for that department. So I hired all of the hairstylists for that department. But anybody that was on a celebrity status was always assigned to me because I was the head of the hair department. And so we did a reading for the whole movie, and she wasn't in the movie, she wasn't on the script, nothing. The morning of the set, the morning of the shoot, the assistant director sent me an email saying that they was changing the script. When they changed the script, they changed one actress from a man to a woman. And this was the woman. So I had privy information that she was going to be on set. She didn't have privy of who was the department head. Like, she just got the call. She could take that part, and she just showed up.
Okay.
So when she showed up, she walked in the room and she saw me, and you would have thought that she saw a ghost. And by now, I'm already there. I've been there. I've already started working on other celebrities, and everybody is kind of like in their groove because she came a little bit later. So when she came, she was like, "Oh, Erica, I didn't know this is what you did." Well, we knew that wasn't true because she knew everything about
everything. Right.
And then to hide her nervousness, she started showing people in the room pictures of my daughter. Like, doesn't she just look just like her daughter in her phone? So it gave everybody the impression that me and her were really good girlfriends. So you know me, I can hide everything behind this smile, right?
Right.
So I'm smiling, looking at her like, okay, this is what we're doing. Like, you know, but I was so grateful because at the moment that I saw the change, I had my moment. I got myself together and I said, you know what? I did absolutely nothing to her, nothing to be ashamed about.
That's right.
Nothing to feel like, you know, like I did something, you know, that was going to harm her. So I can show up with a clear conscience and do my job.
Right.
And that's what I did. So, and Tommy, remember Tommy from Martin. Ford? He was the director of that movie.
Okay.
And Tommy and I have worked on several projects together. A lot of the bigger celebrities in this movie, we worked together for a while, so they knew me, right? So what I found out is that she left out of the room to go and beg Tommy to take me off of that position. Tommy told her, why? You can't give me a good reason. I'm not taking her off. He said, she's great at what she does. That's why we have her as the head of the department. She couldn't tell him why, because she would have been embarrassed. Right. And then, but this is what makes me look at how amazing God is. Because back then, had I sent that article to Essence, it would have been a bum rush.
That's right.
Of stuff like, you know, other outlets would have been calling me, other interviews, all of this stuff would have been happening. Like I would have been pushed into the forefront of, you stole my husband, right?
And then y'all would have been this bickering women back and forth. That's what you would have been. They would have created that story.
Exactly. But because it was all erased out, I did nothing to her. She didn't have anything to stand on to have me to leave that position. Right. Wow. So when Tommy told her no, she came back into the room where we were working. And I mean, her eyes is red. She looks like she's been crying. At the time, I didn't know this happened. I didn't find this out until like a year later that all that had happened. And so I'm thinking like, all of this time she's trying to like be my friend. She's trying to get me off.
Get you fired.
And she was only on the set for that one day. I was on the set for the full month and a half that we were shooting. So he was definitely not going to lose somebody that had that much, you know? So anyway, but on that set, because I had done the work, because I had gone through that healing process, it was like she was doing everything she could to be around me, to be in my space, to like talk to me, to like just to like make herself feel better. Wow. And I was able to tell her that I forgive her. I say, I forgave you a long time ago.
That's right.
And so at that moment, she was dealing with him being unfaithful, him taking money from her, like all of the bad things. And so when she started trying to tell me about it, I said, we're not going to talk about that part of him. I said, but if you need to know what I did to heal, I can help you with that.
Yeah. Come on now.
I'm out of that. Right?
That's right.
But to your point, that is the example of standing in love.
Standing in love.
Nobody on that set knew anything of our past.
Wow.
I didn't treat her any kind of way. I think that's the part that puzzled her the most, because she was expecting to feel some type of pushback, some type of negative energy, but I didn't do it. And then to add insult to injury, she's gone that day. The next day, one of her friends, who's also a celebrity, came on set. I can tell that she already gave her the warning that I was there, right?
Yeah. And
so the very first meeting, the celebrity kind of blew me off when I was telling her who I was and what I'll be doing. Okay, I already went to my hairstylist. I don't need it. And then probably like 5 minutes later, the producer said something to her. You know, I guess they walked away and talked. The producer said something to her. She came back and was like, you know what, Erica, you're right. I am going to need you because I'm going to be shooting a couple days.
Okay.
But how about this? Not only by the time the set was over, she absolutely fell in love with me, became one of my regular clients, and was just like my friend.
See.
So everybody she tried to turn against me, they like the same, like you said, when somebody tried to turn you against someone, you really have to see them for who they are.
That's right. That's right. I'm telling you, listen, I'm going to give y'all time to go Google and see what we talking about and everything. Because I'm telling you, if it would have been me, that would have been a Shanae moment right there and then. That's what that would have been. But we're gonna go on a quick break, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all go Google. But I'm telling you, this is what this show is about. Real talk with real people. This is Talking with 3D. We'll be right back.
Now, get your vocal skills together. Do you need practice first? Do you need that?
Thanks, Pam.
Now get the blowing.
Oh, McDonald.
Cut! You don't believe that. You don't feel that. With soul.
Thank you. Oh, McDonald had a farm. E-I-E-I-O.
And on that farm.
Now you done gone.
Now you done gone too far.
Wait a minute.
What?
Look, Shanae, keep Pam out of it. I'm the one who wants the tickets. Let me do something. Make me do something.
Oh, please. All right, okay. All right, I'm always tired of you coming in the hallway. Stop it. Stop. Break it.
The 3D Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that brings awareness to autism by special events and community events like Stomp the Runway for Autism. We also specialize in health and wellness services, advocacy services, clothing and school supplies, food for families in need. Be a part and make a donation now at www.the3dfoundation.org.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Talking with 3D with my special friend, Erica Strong. I know y'all just typing away and everything, but listen, I'm telling you, you have to get the book, Love Strong, Stand Strong, Finish Strong. So when I met you, Erica, you were being introduced. You had moved to Baltimore, Maryland, and you were being introduced to the church congregation as a fiance of a well-known pastor in the Maryland area. And we were all shocked and pretty, or like, what is going on here? When did this happen? Right. Who is this person? You know, tell us about that moment that, you know, you met someone, mm-hmm. and you thought, wow, this is this is, love. This is, a man that I want to spend the rest of my life with. He's a man of God. He's a pastor of a church and everything. And what got you to that point to say, yes, I want to move on with this relationship?
Because in that, before we met, I was in that process of standing. Right? In that process of standing, I was working on Erica. I was making sure that I guarded the way that I thought. I made sure I put a check on how I was feeling, because I knew that what I was thinking, what I was feeling was always going to manifest into what was happening in my life. So like I literally was doing the work. And I wasn't, just reading a book or trying to drown myself in church. I really, it's an active and intentional job to keep your mind from going to a place that will eventually make you start feeling a certain way, and then making, the things that you don't want to show up in your life. So I was doing the work. I had relocated to Atlanta because I was in Atlanta by the time. So I relocated to Atlanta. I was on production. I finished up my degree in business. I mean, I was in my groove, and I was standing in that space where, you know what, dating right now was not that important. I just needed to heal. I needed to make sure that my girls were okay. I needed to make sure that they didn't see me hurt and then jump to another one, and then hurt and then jump to another one. I wanted them to see how this is what hurt looks like, but this is how the repair, this is the process of the repair. So I did that for myself and my girls, just standing knowing that whatever my good it was going to be, it was going to come. And I didn't have to go look for it. I didn't have to go and change myself for it, because I healed myself from feeling like I wasn't enough, feeling like somebody, was better than me, or somebody was prettier than me, or like I healed myself from all of the negative talk that I gave myself from that relationship. So there was that process of standing. And my sister, who's an advocate for sickle cell, she was doing a talk in Baltimore, and she asked me to come because I usually am a speaker at her events, helping to encourage some of the patients. And so when I got there, she let me meet this, the pastor, because he was gonna officiate or do something, for her event. And so when we got there and we went to dinner, he was just immediately smitten, like, oh my God, like white on rice, like like his pursuit was hot and heavy, like heavy. And usually that would be a red flag for me to like, I don't know, who is this dude? Why is he trying so hard? But because I had my sister and some of the congregants that went to his church that she was related to, people that I knew and trust, they vouched for him. They was like, he's a good guy. He, he's been single for a long time and he needs a good wife, and you would just be perfect for him. And so, and I mean, I tried every reason to get out of it. I was like, I'm not dating anybody long distance, and I'm not moving. And I gave all of my objections, and every objection I gave, he actually was like, well, I have a house in Atlanta and I can come to Atlanta and we can, and it won't feel like you're, long distance. We can date and I can still be there and you can still be here and da-da-da. Right. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. And I still wasn't okay with the dating, but I was like, let's just see. Okay. So the day that we met, the next day I was flying back out to Atlanta. That morning, when my sister was picking me up to take me to the airport, he insisted that we meet him for breakfast. So when we met him for breakfast, he had this card and this beautiful watch. I mean, it was like all these gifts. Was like, I just met you yesterday. Right. And like all of these gifts and everything, and he's just like, I'm really serious. I really want to be able to see you again and all of that. And my sister was like, Erica, he's just such a good guy. Like, give him a chance. Like everybody that I trusted was like, give him a chance. And so when it was time for me to go to the airport, he insisted on going to the airport with us. He like hugged me like we was like a long lost couple was about to leave. And like he had tears in his eyes when I was walking away. I was like, what the world? Like, and this was a Monday. That Wednesday, he was in Atlanta taking me on a date.
Wow.
So he was like really, really like serious. And then I started thinking like, this guy really is serious, and like, let me at least give him a chance.
Right,
And
right.
we stayed on the phone and we talked for hours. We spent a lot of time together, either me in Baltimore, him in Atlanta. It was like, okay, this might be it.
Right, right.
Like I've been, and it's at this point, this was like 7 years. It's been 7 years since all of that happened. So I was like standing for 7 years, just waiting for what was supposed to be for me. So it wasn't like I jumped out of one and jumped into another one.
Right.
7 years passed. And then here he came. And I was just finishing up a Daniel's fast. So I felt like I was pretty clear. I felt like, okay, let me, And so he came down here for a date one time and just surprised me and proposed.
Wow.
And I was like, I think yes. I mean, I just, and honestly, it was because my family that vouched for him made me feel that he was a safe person. I was never a person that was looking for a pastor, don't care about a title, don't care. I didn't care about none of that. I just cared about somebody that had integrity, somebody that had morals, somebody that said that they love God, and not so much that you love God, but that you actually, live your life to that standard.
Right. That's right.
So
right.
I trusted that he was at
least. You thought that you're living a life according to what the title was.
Exactly. Yes. So nothing else. I felt like, you know what? This is my reward from going through all of that crap to waiting and keeping myself in a space of standing, not bitter, not angry, not defeated, not, gain a lot of weight and lose myself.
Right.
I was clear in who I was, and I was strong in who I was. So I stood in that. And then we got married.
Got married. You were introduced to the congregation. That was on a Sunday. Y'all left out. You went to Hawaii and you got married and came back. I almost said the name. Came back and everything. And you became a first lady.
Just thrown into this space. Like, oh my God.
And that was a change for your children. You up and left your businesses, everything, to start a new life as the first lady.
Yeah.
Wow. And when did it all of a sudden change? I mean, all of a sudden the love changed, the attitudes changed. What did you see that changed?
Derek, it was like truly a Dr. Jekyll and Mrs. Hyde, or whatever that is. Like, it was like a light switch went off, and it was like you was this lovey, affectionate need to have me with him all the time. It was almost like I almost felt like I was his Linus blanket. Like he needed me with him all the time. To like, now I repelled him. Like I literally could not figure it out. But that changed, and that thrust into first lady, that was scary for me. That was scary for me. And this is where we met, and why I adore you so much, because you were such a anchor for me. Because I'm not a clique kind of person. Right. I'm not a standoffish person. I'm like an inclusive person. Like, if I meet you and I love you, and it's like I'm pulling people in. I'm not a person that pushes people away. And he wanted me to be that person.
Yeah.
He wanted me to be that person. Like, I remember when one of the marriage couples or whatever was planning something, and I remember saying to him, like, oh, I'm so excited I get to do something like this. Like, I've never done anything with like couples and marriage and all that stuff. And he was like, we don't go out with them. We go out with other pastors and other wives. We don't go out with them. And I'm thinking, like, these are your people. Why wouldn't you spend time with them? And I think it irritated him that I wasn't that. I'm the first lady, you stay over there, I stay over here.
Right.
It irritated him. And I know that probably was a part, I know that wasn't it, but that was probably a part of his turning, because it's like, if you can keep me to ward everybody off, then everybody won't get a chance to know me and love me. So when you do change,
yes, it'll be your fault. it'll be your fault.
It'll
And
be my fault.
I'll tell you, Erica, when I did first meet you, and it was just something like, again, I tell you, it was like, it was you. I felt like I had to always be honest and that protection of you, because I hated to see and hear things, and I'm just like going, because of the fact I respected him so much, and I thought, how could this be happening? And why is it happening? And I remember the day of, it was an anniversary of something. And
Derek, you were my knight in shining shield that day.
And I was like, no, you are going to walk up there. You're going to walk up there with your head held high. I'm going to sit you down, and I will sit behind you. And if you need anything, you let me know. And I remember that day so much, even after taking pictures, I was moving people out the way. No, she's taking pictures and everything, because I was just like, you are not going to be treated in this fashion. I just could not see it. Me as a person I was so involved with the ministry, I was thinking, how is that looking with me? How is that reflecting with me? That all of a sudden I've turned just because somebody poisoned my mind.
Exactly.
You know, I was just like, how do you do that?
Yeah. I remember when, like, to go back to your first question, like, how did it change, right? It was like one of those things where first you want me with you all the time. Then it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, you just get up and leave. And I don't see you for hours. Like, I probably won't see you again until 12 o'clock midnight that next, that later that day or that next day. Or, I mean, it was just like disrespectful, nonverbal. I don't have to answer to you. I don't have to show you. I don't have to be there. But I remember, like, specifically when the switch really clicked, there was a loss in the ministry. There was a guy that pastor that used to be under him that passed away. And we were supposed to go to this guy's funeral. And the night before we were supposed to go to the guy's funeral, like every Friday, we had date night. We went out to date night. And, he's very charismatic, the pastor. Right. And so we sitting at dinner, and everybody used to always compliment me on my ring. And the waitress came up and she was like, oh my God, your ring is beautiful. She was talking to me, but of course, because he's so charismatic, he was like, oh yes, my ring is gorgeous. And he started playing around like as if she was talking about his. Right. And then so he kind of played around with that. And I thought, okay, because at first coming to dinner, he was pretty quiet, but I thought, because he's about to go see, his friend laid to rest, maybe, his emotions is somewhere. Right. And so we had dinner, we leave the restaurant, in the car, and I went to grab his hand. And as I grabbed his hand, like we normally drive, and I just either hold his hand, he pushed my hand away. And I thought, like, that's strange. Okay. He was like, I need to drive. I need to hold the wheel. It was something stupid. But then when we got home, he was still like in this real somber mood. And I was like, just talk to me. I was like, I know you must be hurt. I said, just talk to me. Like, what are you feeling? He was like, I'm just embarrassed. I'm embarrassed. And I said, why are you embarrassed? I said, we're one. What do you have to be embarrassed about? He said, we're not one. I said, well, are we becoming one? We're married. Right. Are we becoming one? He was like, no, we're not. And you know what? I changed my mind. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be married anymore.
Oh, wow.
That's exactly how blunt it was.
Wow.
I changed my mind. I don't want to be married anymore.
And this was just months.
6 months.
Months into the marriage. Wow. Listen, we've got about 10 minutes left of this. I'm telling y'all got to get this book. Love Strong, Stand Strong, Finish Strong. We're going to go into Finish Strong. We can't even go to a break right now because we got to just go right into it. I'm telling y'all, I know y'all are Googling again, Pastor in Maryland. But you got to get the book. I'm telling you, we haven't even touched the surface of it. Listen, Finish Strong. Just recently, you remarried, and I'm telling you, beautiful destination wedding. Again, you are glowing. You are grinning, smiling ear to ear. The ring just beautiful. I am just so happy for you. And you know what? And the one reason I'm going to tell you that I'm so happy for you, Erica, is that you did not give up. You didn't give up.
I refuse to be a victim.
Yes, and you did not let someone that came along have to, you put them through something and make them suffer because of what you've been through.
Mm-hmm.
No, you loved strong, you stood strong, and then you said, you know what? I'm gonna finish strong.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you just remarried, and again, congratulations. We're so happy for you. So how did you get to the place to say, yes, I will do this again. I'm going to finish strong. I am in love. You have a wonderful husband. I can't wait to meet him. Mm-hmm. How did you get to the place to finish strong?
Well, the finishing strong, that whole platform was birthed in that moment, like during the time that I was being disrespected, disregarded, made to feel like I was like a piece of trash that you can have, and throw it out tomorrow. I remembered how I healed the first time. And I knew that I wasn't going to go down that spiral again. And I remembered that the way that I healed the first time is I took the attention off myself and I started helping other people. So I called my brother-in-law and I told him, I was like, I need to do like an event or something where I bring people together and we just, do a workshop or something. He was like, that's a good idea. I said, I got to get around people and I got to figure out who I can help, because if I don't, I'm going to be in this spiral of depression again. Mm-hmm. I got to get the attention off myself. So he was like, well, come up with the name for the workshop and then I'll get on it. I'll find you a place. I'm sitting in front of the computer trying to figure out the name. Just like I heard I Am Your Avenger, I heard Finishing Strong. Finishing Strong. And I was like, Finishing Strong. I called him, I was like, that's it. That next week, we had an event at a hotel space. The room was full.
Wow.
I didn't know what the heck I was about to talk about. So I just stood up there and I just shared from my heart. Not like, this is what's happening to me, this is what's going on. Whatever I talked about that day was what everybody in that room absolutely needed. And Finishing Strong was birthed. Like the platform on social media, all of that stuff started coming. And I wasn't thinking about being an author, wasn't thinking about being an influencer, none of that stuff, right? And so now here I am on this whole nother journey of healing, finishing strong, right? So the more I poured out the people on social media, the more that I was asked to speak to women's groups. And I was asked to speak at churches. I was asked to speak at so many places, be a guest on interviews on TV. And I still had not written a book. I was doing all the speaking and traveling, and I had not written a book. So I love strong, I stand strong. And so now I'm in the process of finishing strong, right? So what made me not give up is because I realized that with the first husband, his problem was greed. He just wanted a quick buck. He wanted something that he can jump in and get real fast. The other one, we didn't even get to this. I found out that he was on the down low.
Wow.
And that was some real evidence. It's not me talking out of pain. It's not me trying to slander. I found out that his interest was for men and for women.
Wow.
And then it made sense why he treated me that way.
Right.
So because I can't let your problems be my problem. That's right. So if I get stuck on you're being greedy, you don't know who you want, the opportunist and the pretender, how do I now lock myself into a life of not having the desire of my heart, which is a loving and caring relationship based off of two people that were dysfunctional? That's right. I had to prioritize where that was coming from. It wasn't coming from me. It was coming from them. So you know what? Let me give y'all stuff and let me have my little life. And I'm going to finish strong. That's right. Amen to that. Listen, this conversation, I got to bring you back, Eric, because we got to talk more about this and about relationships. And let me tell y'all something. We are not here to tear anybody down or anything. It's about healing, and it's about being able to tell your story
and speak what you have to say. So listen, I want you guys
to say one more thing.
Yes.
And you're right. This is not a tear down thing, because when I say I do not have an inch of hate in my heart for either one, I honestly can look back and say, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that happened. I'm so grateful that happened, because I am where I am today. Had that not happened, I would have never known that I had a voice. Had that not happened, I would have never known I could be as strong as I am. Had that not happened, I would never know how to appreciate the real thing when it came.
That's right. Tell everybody where that they can find the book, Love Strong, Stand Strong, Finish Strong.
EricaStrong.com. Super easy. EricaStrong.com. Follow me on all my socials. It's either Erica Strong or Finishing Strong. You'll be able to find me in some sense of strong.
Erica Strong or Finishing Strong. And also, if they need a life coach, follow you on Erica Strong or Finishing Strong.
They can go to ericastrong.com. Everything about me lives on that page. So if you just get to ericastrong.com, you can book a free call with me. We'll do a 30-minute free call just to see where you are and how I can help you. Or you can order your book from there, or you can click the link and go straight to my social. So everything about me lives on ericastrong.com.
ericastrong.com. You guys, please go there. Find ericastrong.com. Also find the book, get the book, read the book, and start your healing process. And again, we're not here to tear down anybody, but we're here to go through our healing process, because you know why? This is real talk for real people. Thank you for joining in, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Derek Darrell Dixon, and this is Talking with 3D. Thank you, Erica. Love you. And we'll be talking to you again soon.